I was born in New York. And then I was raised in Philadelphia. And then I went to Baltimore to go to Johns Hopkins for their gender program. I don't know if it was the first place in the country to be doing gender reassignment, but, well, I heard about it and figured, well, cool, I already, I'm already good, so, I may as well just take care of that. And I went to Hopkins. I just marched through those big doors at Hopkins in a little blue jean mini skirt and a tank top and my flip-flops and my hair up in pigtails and a big old pair of sunglasses, and said, "Hi, I'm here. I'm here for you. This is where you do that, right?" And they said, "What?" And I said, "Well, fix up somebody's genitalia." I figured I'd use a proper word. And they said, "Oh, well, it's actually this whole big process," which really kind of surprised me because I had no clue. I said, "Well, I'm not sure what you're all about, but I'm not here for a shrink. I just want a plumber. Can you help me?" And they said, "No, dear, you are not what we may consider to be a suitable candidate because you are most likely, unstable, and you are not part of mainstream society. And anyone who would choose to be a woman," at which point, of course, I said, "I didn't choose to be a woman. It just turned out that way. It's just who I am. And I'm already a girl. And I came here for you to help me," because it was Baltimore and it was then. We all lived in the thrift stores. And there I was in one afternoon in the thrift store of Johns Hopkins, which was interestingly enough called the Carry On Thrift Shop. And I found myself tugging on something with this guy. And I looked up and it was one of the doctors. And he said, "Hey, it's you." And I said, "Yeah, it is me. It is me. And I'm coming back. And I don't know how long this audition thing you have, it might be." And I was getting a little defensive. And he said, "Oop, slow down. Why don't you slow down just a little bit? I didn't have the opportunity at the time, but I need to tell you, I'm on your side." I said, "Oh, really?" And he said, yeah. He said, "I am." And I said, "Oh, well, then you get that I'm already female. And I just need to be in a position where I can take care of an inconvenient technicality." And he said, I get it. They don't, but come back. Maybe don't be quite as sassy. And let me see what I can do." I went back. And they, quote unquote, let me in again. They were still pretty much as skeptical. And that was when he stepped in. That was when he just looked across the table and said, "Hey, guys, could you take a different look at this? You're judging someone on their lifestyle rather than their gender. Being judgmental about a person's lifestyle just seemed like really in left field to me. It's like, what do you care if I wear, you know, blue jeans or J. Crew? What's it to you? It doesn't make me any more or less female. It took about a year and a half because they still made me go through this whole tedious audition where I met a lot of people who didn't have a clue. One of the doctors I remember, they said, well, she's claiming she's already female. At which point I said, but I am. And they said, but you're not. And I said, but I am. And they said, but you're not. And that went back and forth until we all got bored. Then Dr. John said, well, how about you look at the fact that she's exactly what we might be hoping for. She's already comfortable in the world. And she came in here and said, help me. Not that I made it sound like that. But I did have to go and ask, so I did. I think as I look back on it, they didn't want a ton of negative press or sensationalistic press. So it wasn't a secret, but they kept a low profile. And that was okay by me because I got what I wanted.